Let's talk about the word Sprezzatura and the Italian philosophy of style and individuality. This word actually came out of Italy, 1528, the book of the courtier. The idea here is that it was written for noblemen. It was the idea that, yes, you may look a little bit disheveled. You may look like, you just woke up this way. Imagine, you look at a duck on the surface of a pond. It is smoothly moving through the water. But what you don't see are those little feet, just quickly moving. It basically would mess up the whole image. And Italians understand this, that whenever you see them put together, yes, it looks like they didn't even try. It's just something they threw together. But Italians understand that no, you do need to put the time and effort into that outfit. Even if it looks like that outfit was just thrown together effortlessly, no, there was a lot of thought and process. That's why you want to have a uniform. You want to have clothing that fits you, clothing that when you put it on, it looks good, it works together. I love the interchangeable wardrobe, the idea that you can match things together without even really having to look at them, because when you make sure you buy them and you put them in your closet, that they are going to match, they're going to work effortlessly. But here's the thing, you spent 2 hours getting ready. You see people, they'll go through and they unbutton a button on their jacket. Why do they leave it unbuttoned? No, it's not that they forgot, it's simply they wanted to show you that actually this was a higher end jacket that actually does have functioning buttons. Nowadays, you're finding this on a lot of jackets, but 15 years ago was a little bit harder to find on made to measure. Point being is these small details matter. And that book was written, and the philosophy and the idea has been around for even way before that, that yes, you got to know the rules. I think it was Pablo Picasso said, know the rules in and out, but be an artist and know how to break them. And a lot of Italians, they really pride themselves on this. They'll study under the masters. They understand the mathematics, the art of style, but then they'll go in it and they bring in their own individuality, the art, and they make it theirs. A great example of an Italian with Sprezzatura was Giovanni Agnelli. Now, this guy right here was the principal and the founder of Fiat. This guy had tons of money, yet he was able to break rules. He didn't wear really expensive shirts. He actually bought shirts from Polo or from Brooks Brothers, and he would go with that polo collar that actually had a button down there. He would wear his watch right over the cuff of his shirt, which for a lot of people is a no-no, but the thing is, he understood the rules. He could afford anything, but he would choose to bring in these small distinctive features, and he made it look nonchalant, but it was all calculated. It was all about him sending the message that, hey, he's in charge. He can do whatever the hell he wants. The next summer style secret to steal from the Italians: be comfortable in your own skin. Seriously, whenever you put on an outfit, you should have practiced wearing it. This isn't the first time when you see a great looking Italian that he's worn that outfit. He's probably put that combination together or variations of it. He has a uniform. He has a look. He knows what works for him, and he's practiced wearing it. Whenever you haven't practiced wearing something, all of a sudden you're unsure, you're uncertain, maybe you're self-conscious, and it shows. You want to be able to wear clothing, again, that's incredibly comfortable, clothing that looks good. Master wearing the casual sports jacket. Now, I get it. This off-white jacket right here may be a little bit too much for some of you. Then start off with a gray or light tan. What I like about colors like this, you can dress them up, you can dress them down, and jackets in general, as the Italians understand, build up the shoulders. They just make you a step above when it comes to your style. You stand out from the crowd. Wearing this with jeans, wearing them with chinos, wearing these with linen trousers, all of a sudden you are looking better than most of the guys out there. Now, immediately the objection from most guys is it's too hot, it's uncomfortable. But here's the secret to wearing a jacket. First up, make sure it's made from the right material. This one's made from linen. It's going to be breathable. In addition, let's talk about unlined jackets. These are jackets that are not fully lined on the inside. So they just have this thin layer of linen, again, which is incredibly breathable. They've got some lining up here at the top, so it makes it really easy to be able to slip your shoulders in and out. But jackets built like this, lightweight, are made for the summer and are going to be the air is going to flow right through. They are much cooler than they look. Also, when looking at a summer jacket, don't forget to pay attention to the color. In general, lighter colors are where it's at. They're going to reflect more light. Darker colors absorb light. Therefore, they're going to be hotter. Now, this color right here, again, maybe over the top for some of you guys, but look for grays, look for greens. There are variations. They're going to be lighter in color. Anything that's in the pastels may be a little bit too strong for some of you guys, but again, try the jacket on, see how it makes you look. Jackets, again, build up the shoulders. They slim up the silhouette. In general, they make you look more stylish. Guys, know your shoes. So us Americans, we just default, it seems like, to running shoes. Maybe you've got some sandals. Yeah, but let's talk about loafers. This is where the Italians really get it. And you can start off with something simple and clean. What I like about loafers like this is they've got a really short vamp. So that's the front top part of the shoe right here. And they're incredibly cool. They're also made from a very lightweight, pliable leather that's going to be incredibly comfortable. Believe me, I've walked throughout New York City in a pair of shoes like this. Incredibly comfortable, and it just steps up the entire outfit. But gents, there's more. Simply take that same style, change up the material. Here I've gone with the green suede. You wear that with a great pair of light wool trousers, maybe like a light white shirt, but it's the shoes that are going to stand out. But what if it's incredibly hot? You want something that's even cooler. Guys, look for perforated leather style shoes. What I love about these is air literally can go in and out. You've got small holes. These are incredibly breathable, and again, so much more stylish than just wearing running shoes. Seriously, I like that style so much, I even picked up a pair in blue suede. Now, if you want something with a little bit more flash, maybe a little bit more design, don't be afraid of a tassel loafer. And of course, how could we forget the iconic horsebit loafer, made popular by the designer Gucci? Let's talk about that splash of color. But point being is most American men are afraid to bring in color. I mean, how many guys do you know that for some reason they think pink is a woman's color?
I like that pink, man. Mauve, bro. Mauve. Okay.
You know your history. Pink was actually a young man's color for the longest time, and it actually works great with darker skin tones. It makes them really pop. But here's the thing is a lot of guys we have this false association. Believe me, the ladies do not care. If it looks good on you, you're going to get compliments and you are going to stand out from the crowd. So don't be afraid to bring it in. And maybe it's not going to be a shirt. Maybe it's going to be an accessory. Maybe it's going to be your trousers. Again, an area where most men neglect actually bringing in color. But I've seen men pop in with red trousers, maybe with a navy polo. Right there, we're drawing attention to the trousers. It looks good and you stand out from the crowd. Hey guys, really quick, a lot of guys make a mistake. They think that just watching a video like this on YouTube is somehow going to make them an expert. Straight up, gents, you have to take this information and put it into action. And one of the best ways to motivate yourself to take action is to put yourself in a community, in a group of like-minded warriors, taking steps to improve their image, their presence, their presentation, and you can find all of that over at our community at school.com/RMRS. Over in our school community, we've got detailed classes, we host challenges, and you can meet and engage with like-minded men taking steps on a daily basis to become their best self. So gents, instead of saying someday, how about you say day one and join our community? I'm putting the link down in the description, in the comments, or you can just go directly to school.com/RMRS. So putting this together, I did a lot of research, actually watched a lot of interviews of Italian women talking about style, and so much of this applied to guys, and I thought it was a different approach. Even though they talked about some of the same things I cover in my videos, they had a different way of thinking about this, and I really liked it. First up, dressing for your body. Now, I talk about dressing for your body type all the time, and there is clothing that was going to accentuate certain things. It's going to not look good on different body types. But this woman, she was like, hey, don't worry about any of that. Instead, focus in on what you love about your body versus what you hate. So many times we're trying to minimize versus actually focusing on what you love and, in a sense, having fun with it, flaunting it. Now, as a guy, maybe you're not flaunting it, but I know I've always been conscious about the size of my arms. I was a skinny guy around a lot of guys that spent time in the gym, and maybe I should have spent more time in the gym, still have time, but you got to work with what you got. Now, some of you guys have weight around the midsection, but maybe you've got broad shoulders. So accentuate the shoulders with a jacket. I know for me, I love wearing jackets because then I don't think about my arms. I feel I'm more proportionate that way. And it was about finding ways, particular pieces that just make you feel great, that, in a sense, bring balance to the overall look. That was the next thing that they talked about, bringing balance to your look and not trying to, be too one-dimensional. So in other words, instead of balance, maybe it would be harmony. Make sure that if you look at yourself in the mirror, and you should have a full-length mirror, does your look, is it harmonic, or are we being drawn to too many things? And that was the next point that was brought up, is have one signature eye-catching piece. Everything else should follow. Everything else should support. A lot of times, especially guys when they're just getting started trying to dress sharp, they put together just an I would say it looks like Frankenstein. They're trying to bring too many pieces that grab attention together. Simplify. You want one piece. And if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, there's too much, maybe I'm trying to pull off too much jewelry, maybe I'm trying to pull off too many accessories, go ahead and drop one. get rid of it, cut down to the bare essence. Remember, try to keep it about one piece that you draw attention in the eyes to. So what should that one piece be? Well, the Italians that I saw interviewing talked about 3 things that every great Italian pays attention to. Make sure that they buy quality and that these could be eye-catching pieces. You know, again, not all at the same time. And if you do, make sure the other 2 are more muted. But first up, sunglasses. Italy, you got the sun. A lot of you guys down in Southern Cal, Arizona, Florida, maybe you're over in Southern India. Sunglasses are really great when you're in that area of the world where the sun's out. Even here in Wisconsin, I have to say during the winter, we've got the white snow out there. Sunglasses when you're driving are a must. Make sure that you get a brand. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars, but you do need to find a style that suits you. I think so many guys, easily, they maybe default to, some sports sunglasses. That's not what you should do. Look for the classics. Look for aviators. Wayfarers are an amazing option, and they're a little bit out there, a little bit more solid framed, but they will draw attention to the eyes. Maybe look at a classic pair of Clubmasters. Now, during the summer, you're going to want to go with lighter fragrances. And what we mean by that are fragrances that aren't heavy and overpowering, nothing overly sweet unless you're going to the club. Maybe look for something that's going to have more, aquatic notes to it. It's going to maybe have a little bit of an aromatic to it. Something that's going to have a little bit of citrus at the top. Whenever you put this on, it's going to be refreshing. That being said, powdery fragrances that have a little bit of a, floral to them, maybe a little bit of an aromatic. Those can work as well. But, again, just look for something that's geared towards the summer. I find that there are tons of options out there, especially for the guy just starting off. That being said, there is a drawback to a lot of summer fragrances, and that is they don't last that long compared to the heavier winter fragrances. That being said, don't worry about that, because when you put this on and it's 100 degrees outside and you're sweating, it will last long enough. And if you really want to smell more of it, then just reapply. Now, what about shorts? And don't get me wrong, I love shorts. When the temperatures hit 35 degrees here in Wisconsin, everybody's out wearing their shorts and their white legs are blinding you. But seriously, shorts in general are a bit overplayed, in my opinion, because most men in hot weather don't think tropical weight wool trousers. They don't think chinos and going with a variety of options. The thing is, shorts are really going to dress down any outfit. Nothing wrong with that if the situation calls for that. If you're going to the beach, if you're just going to be out going for a walk around town and it's really hot, I get it, totally fine. But I do think wearing the right type of shorts and maybe looking at could tropical weight wool trousers actually fill in a void, so I'm going to come off as more stylish and be just as cool. In fact, protect my legs from the, from the sun. But guys, let's actually go to a whole video on shorts in which I talk about this very topic. I go into the length, I go into a lot of details on how to pull shorts off and look good. Again, covered in this video right here. Click it, you'll magically go over there and be amazed. Yeah, it's a good video.